Very well then. If you're that confident in Grace's cooking, why not have a cook-off? We will see who is better. What do you think, Grace? Let's make this Thanksgiving interesting. Oh, please. This would actually be helpful for Grace. Maybe she can learn a thing or two from my cooking. Daniel, I know that's why you haven't given her any kids. I mean, what kind of mother can't even feed her husband and kids a decent meal? My name is Grace, 33 years old. I am a food enthusiast with an insatiable passion for all things culinary. Food has always been more than just a basic necessity for me. It's an outlet for creativity and a way to express my love and care. From experimenting with flavors to perfecting new recipes, I find joy in the art of cooking. But here's a little secret. My husband Daniel doesn't have a clue about my true culinary talents. He did not know that I was a well-known chef with years of experience working in renowned kitchens, a string of culinary achievements under my belt, and my very own restaurant. Don't get me wrong, he's no stranger to my delicious home-cooked meals. In fact, he often raves about the dishes, thinking they're just the result of my amateur cooking adventures. You see, Daniel has always been a foodie himself, and that's one of the things that brought us together. We would spend hours exploring new restaurants, savoring unique flavors, and sharing our love for all things delicious. It was during those culinary adventures that I fell head over heels for him. So you may wonder, why keep your culinary skills under wraps? Well, call it a mix of modesty and wanting to maintain a sense of simplicity in our relationship. I want us to enjoy meals together without any pressure or expectations. Plus, I don't want to become a subject of comparison with his mother. I have seen how mothers can be overly proud and protective of their skills when it comes to cooking. I didn't want to disrupt the delicate balance that exists between my mother-in-law and me. I wanted to avoid any unnecessary tension or the constant comparison of our cooking abilities. That's why I made Daniel believe that my cooking was simply a labor of love rather than the result of years of professional training. Deep down, I dreamed of the day when I could surprise him with a truly remarkable dish and say, "Guess who cooked that?" Little did I know that fate had a funny way of bringing that moment closer than I expected. It was a Thanksgiving day, a time when families gather to celebrate and indulge in a bountiful feast. The kitchen buzzed with simmering pots and mouth-watering aromas emitting in the air. As I bring inside the ingredients for a flavorful dish I plan to cook, my mother-in-law Evelyn appeared with her presence, commanding attention. "Grace, dear, what's all this? I think it's better to bring this back inside the car and cook it for yourself at another time." Evelyn, I appreciate your concern, but what I am about to cook is a dish close to my heart, and I wanted to share it with everyone on this special day. I believe I can make it really flavorful and satisfying for everyone's taste buds. Thanks for trying, dear, but on Thanksgiving, the stakes are higher. It's a time for a grand feast, and it would be disrespectful to the spirits of Thanksgiving if we settle for mediocrity. Wouldn't you agree? And besides, let's be honest, cooking has never been your forte. Or else I would have been hearing it from Daniel nonstop. He is such a foodie, it's a miracle he survives with your culinary skills. Daniel suddenly came to the kitchen, interrupting his mother's nonstop attacks on me.
Mom, come on now. I can assure you that Grace is an amazing cook. She has been preparing delicious meals for me all the time, and I've loved every bite. Why not give her a chance to shine this Thanksgiving?
Oh, that's something new, Daniel. I remember when you were little, you wouldn't touch anything that wasn't cooked by me. It is interesting how things have changed. Is she forcing you to say that? Blink twice if you need help. she joked. She seemed offended by Daniel's defense of my cooking skills, and I felt pressurized. Who can ever top a nostalgic meal? Very well then, if you're that confident in Grace's cooking, why not have a cook-off? We'll see who is better. What do you think, Grace? Let's make this Thanksgiving interesting.
Oh, that's not what I meant at all, Mom. You are both great.
Yeah, I don't want to make things... Oh, please. This would actually be helpful for Grace. Maybe she can learn a thing or two from my cooking. Daniel, I know that's why you haven't given her any kids. I mean, what kind of mother can't even feed her husband and kids a decent meal? A hushed silence filled the air. I hesitated at first, but I knew that accepting the challenge was a necessary step for my own growth and to put an end to Evelyn's constant scrutiny, so I accepted it. All right, Evelyn, I accept your challenge. I think it will be fun. She challenged the wrong person. Bring it on, Evelyn. This should be fun. So the ingredients are laid out and the culinary showdown began. Evelyn and I stood at opposite ends of the counter. The dish we would be preparing was adobo, a classic Filipino favorite known for its savory flavors and tender meat, and I was determined to make it shine. Evelyn, on the other hand, seemed confident as ever. She moved with precision, effortlessly chopping the garlic and onions, her movements as if they were second nature. I couldn't deny her skill and experience, but I knew I had something to offer too. I marinated the pork in a blend of soy sauce, garlic, few spices, alongside my secret ingredient. But as I scanned the counter for the bottle of vinegar, a crucial ingredient for the recipe, it was nowhere to be found. Panic surged through me as I realized Evelyn had hidden it, hoping to throw me off balance. I couldn't waste time arguing with her because I know she will just deny it. So I refused to let it deter me. I took a deep breath and cast a glance around the kitchen. My eyes fell upon a jar of tamarind paste tucked away in the pantry. A light bulb flickered in my mind. Tamarind possessed a natural tanginess that could potentially emulate the sourness of vinegar. It was an unexpected substitute, but I had to trust my culinary instincts. After all, chefs are masters of improvisation. I grabbed the jar and measured out a precise amount of the paste. Carefully, I added it to the simmering adobo, stirring it into the rich sauce. Would my improvisation yield a successful result, or would it be a disastrous deviation from tradition? The time had come for Daniel, the ultimate judge, to make his decision. Evelyn and I stood side by side, our dishes lined up before us, each bearing the distinct aroma of the dish. To add an element of surprise, we decided to blindfold Daniel. It was an opportunity for him to judge solely based on taste, without any bias. He ate mine first. I watched anxiously as he took to his first bite, savoring the flavors and contemplating his opinion.
This is fantastic. Is that tamarind I taste? It is a refreshing twist that is bold and innovative. That approach truly set this dish apart.
His words filled me with pride, knowing my creative improvisation had resonated with him. I am grateful for his recognition and the validation it brought to my culinary skills. Evelyn couldn't resist but take a small taste from my plate. Her pride refused her to allow any verbal affirmation, but there was a subtle nod of approval. Next up was Evelyn's dish. While Daniel was taking a bite, Evelyn whispered to me, "You're not the only one with a secret ingredient up their sleeve."
This is also good. The flavor is decent.
Evelyn smirked, thinking Daniel's comment on her dish was better. What could she have added? She probably saw me improvising during the cook-off and felt pressure to add a twist to her dish. She whispered something to me again. "Now, Here's a tip for your meals, dear. Peanut butter. My heart skipped a beat as Evelyn's words reached my ears. As I turned to look at Evelyn, her eyes widened in curiosity. Daniel, stop eating now. Oh, that's such a sore loser of you, dear. Let him eat. It's peanut butter. Daniel's face already changed and he tried spitting what was left in his mouth. Discomfort clouded him as he coughed uncontrollably, with his allergic reaction becoming apparent. Rushing to Daniel's side and taking his blindfold off, I quickly retrieved an EpiPen from my purse, having had prior knowledge of Daniel's allergy. The allergy must have developed later on in Daniel's life that Evelyn wasn't aware of it. It's also unfortunate that we cooked in Evelyn's house where there were ingredients lying around that Daniel's allergic to. Finally, Daniel's breathing began to ease and color returned to his face. A collective sigh of relief echoed throughout the kitchen as we averted a potentially dangerous situation. All right, Daniel, you can tell us now who won before you forget. I was taken aback by Evelyn's insistence. Considering the circumstances, I felt inappropriate to continue the cook-off while Daniel was recovering. With genuine concern, I interjected. Evelyn, let's not rush things. We can postpone or even cancel the judging if Daniel isn't feeling well. The cook-off is not that serious. Daniel's health is our priority. Daniel, still recovering from the scare, managed to give a reassuring smile.
No, I'm all right now. Let's continue. I like this dish better because it was the tamarind edition, was a stroke of genius. It's only fair to acknowledge its creativity and skill. Who cooked this?
Daniel pointed at my dish, and that made me so happy. As Daniel declared me the winner of the cook-off, I saw how Evelyn's face fell, with hurt evident in her eyes. Thank you for the friendly competition, Evelyn.
I believe everyone enjoyed the food.
Enjoyed your food? Please, Daniel was just being polite. He will come running back to me once he misses a real meal. Soon enough, your 5 minutes of fame is over. I couldn't help but just laugh at what she said. Her offensive comments only fueled my determination. After emerging victorious in the cook-off and receiving recognition for my culinary prowess, my life took an exhilarating turn. The aftermath of the competition we had has brought about unexpected changes in my life. Inspired by the success of my improvised adobo, I decided to incorporate the dish into the menu of my restaurant. I didn't know why I didn't think of adding it before, but thanks to that little cook-off, it was brought to my attention how the world needs to taste more of it. Word spread quickly about the twist I had added to the traditional Filipino dish, and soon enough it became the talk of the town. Customers flocked to my restaurant eager to experience the flavorful dish. Positive reviews pour in, praising my culinary skills once more. The newfound popularity brought not only more customers but also financial success, allowing me to expand it. As my reputation as a skilled chef grew, so did my confidence. I decided to leverage my success and knowledge in creating a workshop aimed at nurturing aspiring chefs, where I would be sharing my expertise, divulging invaluable culinary secrets, and encouraging participants to embrace their unique culinary journeys. I aim to foster a supportive community in which its foundation is built on the principles of empowerment, collaboration, and lifting others up. It was a stark contrast to the demeaning treatment I had endured from my own mother-in-law. As the workshop kicked off, I was excited to meet the aspiring chefs and learn with them. However, my excitement turned to utter astonishment when I spotted a familiar among the participants. It was Evelyn, my mother-in-law. The sight of her caught me off guard, and a whirlwind of thoughts raced through my mind. I couldn't help but wonder why Evelyn had chose to attend my workshop. I don't think she knew I was teaching this class because she seemed very uncomfortable and out of place. Her usual air of confidence was nowhere to be found. It's very laughable how the very person who she belittled and undermined is who she is now seeking guidance from. Perhaps the sadness she had experienced from losing to Midish and the fact that Daniel had sided with me instead of her must have hurt her in ways I could never fully imagine. Throughout the workshop, I kept a watchful eye on Evelyn, observing her interactions with the other participants. She was trying her best to blend in and keep a low profile. It was evidence that being in my presence and my mentee was a humbling experience for her. She was obviously humiliated as she remained a reluctant participant. She avoided eye contact with me and offered a muted response every time I interacted with her. Just like when the participants were practicing their knife skills, I noticed Evelyn struggling with a particularly tough vegetable. Her hands trembled and her cuts were uneven. I assume she's unfamiliar with it and hasn't had the chance to try it in her dishes before. I couldn't help but chuckle at the irony. The woman who had prided herself on her culinary skills now found herself stumbling over basic techniques. It seemed like bad karma had seeped into her cooking, leaving her creations lackluster and tasteless. Hey, Evelyn, let me show you a little trick. See, if you hold the vegetables this way and angle your knife like this, you will get a cleaner and more even cut. There was a mix of shame and gratitude in her eyes, as if she had come face to face with her own shortcomings and the impact they had on others. She still avoided eye contact and murmured a barely audible response, her pride obviously shattered and her facade crumbling. The workshop came to an end and I approached Evelyn. I hoped you learned a lot. Double meaning, of course. I left Evelyn to reflect on her actions with a mischievous grin across my lips. Walking away from that encounter, I felt a sense of closure and satisfaction. I had turned Evelyn's negativity into a catalyst for positive change, both for myself and others. And as for Evelyn, well, karma had come knocking on her kitchen door. Only time would tell if she would learn from her own mistakes. Maybe next time, she'll know that the best recipe for personal growth is seasoning dishes with a dash of humility and a sprinkle of kindness.